Yo, what's good, gang? It's the Dope Guy, and I am back with another video, big dog. Yo, hope you guys are all doing well out there because I'm doing alright. Here I am spinning the block with content for y'all, man. So, today's video is the only battle fought between American soldiers in World War II, the Battle of Bamber Bridge Explained, man. Yo, man, shout out to all my people, man, who been tapped in, man. I did a video the other day about how Americans got World War II all wrong. And from the information I was hearing, man, I tapped in with that video, man. A lot of y'all said in the comments, we definitely have, man. That and then the falling of World War II, man. That's where I first tapped in with a few days ago, man. I appreciate y'all for tapping in and watching that reaction video. Now, shout out to the subscriber who suggested I check out about the Battle of Bamber Bridge, man. So this is more things focused on World War II. So I cannot wait to get into this video and see what this information is about. But before we tap in, subscribe to the Dope Guy, the way to get notifications every time I upload. And from right here on Snapchat and Instagram right across the bottom of the screen. So that being said, I'm not gonna hold y'all much longer because you already know this go big dog. Let's get into it. Yes, sir.
We've done videos on friendly fire in World War II, Imperial Japan's inter-service hostilities, and Allied forces such as the Americans and Soviets going toe-to-toe. But did you know that 2 American units fought and shot each other over in northwest England in June 1943?
Damn,
this is the story of the so-called Battle of Bamber Bridge, a skirmish fueled by beer and no small amount of racism.
What?
By beer. This is the story of the so-called Battle of Bamber Bridge, a skirmish fueled by beer and no small amount of racism.
What? That shit is crazy.
Until US President Harry S. Truman issued Executive Order 9981 in July 1948, the branches of the United States Armed Forces suffered from varying degrees of racial segregation. The first clause of the order read as follows: "It is hereby declared that there shall be equality of treatment and opportunity for all persons in the armed services without regard to race, color, religion, or national origin." Of course, the order didn't erase racism in the military, and it was put into effect some 5 years after the Battle of Bamber Bridge. Throughout World War II, some 2 million American servicemen passed through or were stationed in the UK for a variety of purposes. And they weren't always on the job. They often toured the UK and interacted with its denizens. Many American servicemen married English women and brought them back to America when the war was over. More often than not, African Americans were well received by the British populace, at least at the start. When more racist white Americans poured into the UK, they imposed their aholery upon the British, refusing, for example, to eat at a restaurant that served black people. According to Roy Otterly's article, Dixie Invades Britain, which was published in 1942, American observers who were in the UK in 1942 when the first contingents arrived from America saw amicable and smooth relations develop between the Negro troops and their British hosts. So much so that certain white American soldiers became openly resentful, and they lost no time in attempting to discipline the British people.
That's wild, man.
According to an article by historian Joseph Dickinson, the resentment was due, at least in part, to the frustration of white American soldiers who saw how open British women were to relationships with black Americans.
Yeah, I'm sure, bro. They had a fucking field day with that.
And simply couldn't handle it without chucking a massive tantrum.
Bro, damn.
In the words of author Graham Smith, many young girls found the blacks fascinating, appreciating their attentiveness and good manners. The United States Army Air Forces, or USAAF, the precursor to the US Air Force, operated out of more than 200 airfields in the UK, each base housing an average of 2,500 men. Among the American units which flew out of the UK was the 8th Army Air Force, and one of the 8 supporting units was the 1,511th Quartermaster Truck Regiment, a racially segregated unit composed of African American soldiers. These men were housed at Air Force Station 569, or more colloquially, Adam Hall, in the village of Bamber Bridge in Lancashire, England. Their job was to deliver, via trucks, war material to other air bases in the area. When they were off duty, some of the men enjoyed a pint or two at a watering hole called Ye Old Hob Inn, where they were more than amicable with the local English. When the white Americans started cracking down on this, demanding the establishment of a color bar in the village's 3 pubs put up signs reading "Black Troops Only."
Damn.
Racism, it seemed, would not be tolerated in Bamber Bridge.
Hell no.
Unfortunately, the 234th U.S.
It's crazy, man, because this is more history that they don't teach us in school. We don't know these things. I never knew any of this type of stuff growing to school 20, 30 years ago in history class. They don't tell the whole story, bro. It's like when it comes to history, you get bits and pieces of stuff. That way, the shit don't look crazier than what it sounds, bro.
Military police company, which operated on the north side of the village, were especially sore about the attentive, well-mannered African-American men winning the hearts of Bamber Bridge's women. The MPs had standing orders to arrest American soldiers who were out without a pass, who weren't dressed properly, or who were acting disorderly. On the 24th of June 1943, just days after the race riot back in Detroit, Michigan, they tried to use their power to give the black soldiers of the 1511th a hard time. The consequences were disastrous. While the specifics might vary between sources, the core of the story remains the same. Possibly because an African-American soldier tried to purchase a beer after last orders had been called,
Right.
MPs Roy A. Windsor and Ralph F. Ridgway entered Ye Old Hob Inn on the night of the 24th and tried to cite one Private Eugene Nunn for being without a pass and for wearing the wrong uniform. An argument broke out, and the locals, as well as British servicewomen of the Auxiliary Territorial Service, sided with Nunn and the 1511th.
Yeah, they wasn't having that, bro. They were not trying to have that, bro. Because wearing the wrong uniform, he just in there for a beer.
An unnamed white British soldier also chimed in, saying, "Why do you want to arrest them? They're not doing anything or bothering anybody." The heat increased, and one private, Lynn M. Adams of the 1511th, brandished a bottle. In retaliation, Windsor drew his gun. It might have gone down then and there had not a black sergeant by the name of William Byrd managed to defuse the situation.
Damn, bro.
The MPs got into their jeep and were on their way out, but Private Adams was mad and probably a little drunk and decided it would be a good idea to throw his bottle at the jeep. The MPs were outnumbered and chose not to retaliate at that moment. Instead, they gathered some reinforcements and ambushed the men of the 1511th as they were walking back to Adam Hall later that night. A fight ensued on the road, possibly with the MPs wielding billy clubs. The 1511th fought back with bottles and loose cobblestones. Supposedly to stop Private Adams from hurling a stone at him, MP Carson W. Bosman drew his gun and fired. The bullet struck the private in the neck, but he wasn't killed. The fight soon subsided, and the men of the 1511th made it back to Adam Hall, mostly in one piece. At some point...
I'm pretty sure yo, that's some bullshit, bro. That's
During
wild.
the chaos, a rumor spread throughout the village. A black soldier had been shot in the back, and the MPs were out on a manhunt. There seems to be a little confusion about what happened next, but the resounding narrative is that a pissed-off crowd of some 200 black men rallied at Adam Hall, standing against their white senior officers and calling for war. It's possible they would have stormed the village en masse, but the 1511th's only black officer, Lieutenant Edwin D. Jones, was able to calm them down, for the time being. It wasn't long after that, however, that about a dozen MPs drove into Adam Hall in several jeeps and an improvised armoured car fitted with a machine gun. This prompted the 1511th to seize about 2/3 of the firearms stored at Adams Hall and either take up defensive positions or drive or run out into the night to meet the MPs head-on. The locals were instructed to stay inside, and over the next 3 to 4 hours, a firefight raged throughout the Bamber Bridge area.
Damn.
A private of the 1511th, one William Crossland, took a bullet and died, while 4 or 5 other soldiers and 2 MPs were injured. It could have been much worse, all things considered. Following this mess, 2 trials were conducted. In the first, 4 of the African-American men involved in the fight in which Private Adams was shot were found guilty of various offences, dishonourably discharged and sentenced to hard labour.
Damn.
In the second trial, 28 of the 35 defenders were convicted of offences such as ignoring orders, failing to disperse, rioting, mutiny, seizing arms, and firing on officers and MPs. They were sentenced to as many as 15 years, but further reviews saw a reduction in these sentences and the release of some of the men. 15 of them returned to duty in June 1944, just in time for the Normandy landings. All in all, the longest period served by any of the men was just 13 months. Again, things could have been much worse. The commander of the 8th Army Air Force, General Ira C. Eaker, believed much of the blame fell on the MPs, whose blatant racism inspired the entire affair.
Yes!
The white officers of the 1,511th were also largely to blame, as they did a terrible job of trying to pacify the rioting men at Adam Hall and also refused to tend to the wounded among them. At least one of them was reportedly drunk.
Out there drunk as hell, shooting firearms and all this other BS. That is crazy, man. I never knew any of this type of stuff in school, bro. That's why videos like these this is important.
Following the incident, the 1,511th and other trucking units' ranks were purged of racist officers, and black officers were integrated into the MP units.
Fire.
Things got slightly better after that.
Yep.
We're interested to know what you think, though. Had you heard of the Battle of Bamber Bridge before today?
No.
Why do you think it happened? Lastly, can you think of any similar battles which took place during the war? And shout out to my boy Kamal for suggesting this ages ago. Anyways, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something new.
That shit is crazy, bro, man. Them people be... Damn, man. I'm glad I started tapping into, when I watched the fall of World War II and then other videos you guys recommend. Just been tapping in and just educating myself about things I had no idea or never heard of, and I always appreciate these type of lessons, man. Shout out! I have no idea about the Bamber Bridge. You know what I'm saying? It was good to see that the black soldiers did get moved up into being MPs and shit. All over beer, bro. All this was beer and racism. He was just in there trying to get a drink and did all this. Like I said, this part of history is what they don't teach you, man. Oh no, shit is just crazy, man. But yo, shout out to everybody, man. Always important to educate yourself, man. Tap in, watch these type of videos, man. If you got any feelings or anything about the Battle of Bamber Bridge, man, let me know in the comments and keep recommending them dope videos that y'all want me to tap into, man. It's always good to educate yourself, man. For real. Shout out to y'all. But yo, I hope you enjoyed the reaction to this video. If you enjoyed my reaction, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Dope Guy Big Dog. Hit the notification bell whenever I upload. From right here on Snapchat and Instagram, right across the bottom screen. Any of the videos you may check out, please comment to this video, my other videos. Leave likes and comments on all my videos to help grow the channel, help with the algorithm for sure. Any of the videos you may check out, please leave a comment in the comment section below. No, I got y'all. I'm gonna spin the block. But yeah, man, it's the Dope Guy, and I am out. Yes, sir.